Jeff actually warned me that I was going to be walking down the aisle with a lot of flame, and he said, if I trip, pay attention. And I said, I will. I'll make sure I grab one of those cupcakes. Some fun facts about water. Water is the element that we most commonly see in all three of its phases. We see it as ice, solid. We see it as water, liquid. And we see it as water vapor, steam, or clouds. And you can see all that in the course of a few minutes, honestly. Babies are born at 78% water, and by the time we're adults, we're just 50 to 60% water. But our bodies need water to do just about anything, from breathing to moving to our digestion. Water cycles through all parts of the earth and all living creatures. Do you remember learning about the water cycle as a child? You probably did some diagram with it. So what this implies is that there may be in my body right now water that has been in the body of somebody in Uzbekistan 2 months ago. Fun facts about fire. Fire is not a thing. It is an event or an occurrence. Earth is the only known planet where fire can burn. Fire's color indicates something about the oxygen supply to that flame. Yellow means that there's a lot of uncombusted fuel, not so efficient, but blue indicates a more efficient burning of the fuels. The advent of cooking with fire is responsible for modern humanity because it rendered food more digestible and more calories were available. So human beings were freed from spending all their time on hunting and gathering and able to do other things, such as the New York Times crossword puzzle. While we fear large, uncontrolled forest fires, they are in fact mostly good for forests in smaller sizes, clearing the way for sunlight to reach forest floors and creating a habitat for many new plants and animals that depend upon those fresh little shoots. Fires can kill diseased trees and cure pest infestations. And the ash leaves needed calcium and potassium and phosphorus on forest floors. And here's a few fun facts involving both fire and water. During wildfires, trees can actually explode if the water in them turns to steam too quickly. Nobody knows who invented the fire hydrant because the patent was destroyed in a fire. How is it that water stops a fire? Have you ever really thought about this? It does two things. One is the water helps reduce the temperature, and second, water helps prevent the fire from being exposed to its necessary fuel, namely oxygen. So it both smothers and reduces temperature. Not only can fire refine food, but fire is the means by which we can distill water and therefore have purer water. So as Renee has already so wonderfully displayed for us, this is the birthday of the church, the day in which we celebrate the Holy Spirit coming and being present to the whole community. And both fire and water are symbols of the Holy Spirit. Now, whenever you hear the word symbol, think not sign, signs point the way. Symbols participate in the reality to which they point. Symbols participate in the reality to which they point. And so it is such a gift that these everyday elements of fire and water are present to us so regularly. However, for the symbol to be effective, we need to pay attention. So I invite you all in the next week or so to pay attention to water and fire. Last week we talked about the ascension, that story about Jesus being brought up to heaven and leaving us here on earth. And that story made way for us to do the work of the church. But are we ready for it? Well, of course not. We are made ready through the Pentecost story in these ways. By being together, the first element of the Pentecost story is that everyone was gathered together that day. We are made ready by telling the stories of Jesus, by remembering those gifts of God that God has given us through many centuries. And we are made ready by receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit. And I just love that image that the Holy Spirit makes us understand one another in various languages if we are paying attention. It's also a little amusing that folks observe one another as a little drunk with the Holy Spirit, which may be a way for folks to understand the power, the empowerment that the Holy Spirit spread upon those people. So the Holy Spirit functions to empower us. It knits us together, just like water is knit into our bodies. It's kind of knit into us and knit between us as well, just like the water cycle means water has cycled from one body to the next. And like fire, the Holy Spirit is able to transform us in these amazing ways. It's a sort of refiner's fire in us, transforming us and purifying us for the work of God. The Holy Spirit, then given at Pentecost and celebrated every year, is that giving of the means by which we become Christ's hands and feet here on earth. We are given the fullness of the power necessary for us to do this holy work. So these symbols of fire and water not only teach us, they also remind us and affect in us the very work of the Holy Spirit. So the next time you light a candle or watch a campfire or wash your hands or take a shower or drop an ice cube into your drink, think to yourself, Holy Spirit. Where is the Holy Spirit? How is it functioning in my life? Fire, water, spirit. Spirit, water, and fire. We are Christ's hands and feet, the church empowered by the Holy Spirit.